Coming up on episode 9 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Mary Poppins. Never ever just Mary.
So what did you think about saving Mr. Banks?
I absolutely loved it.
And he just stops me. He grabs me, he turns me around, he goes, wait, hold this. And he puts a ring in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
Last week, Sarah and I visited Disneyland, where we met Thor.
Yay, I was very excited.
Sarah's got a little crush on Thor.
You cross the finish line and they give you wine or beer.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is my kind of race.
Which is fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Ladies, listen.
A billion years in the making.
Off to Neverland.
What do you know?
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Hey, Skywalkers. Welcome to episode 9 of Skywalking Through Neverland. We're going to kick off today's show with a sad note in the world of Disney.
Walt's last surviving daughter, Diane Disney Miller, died this week on Tuesday in Napa, California. She was 79 years old. I mean, she definitely was the inspiration for Disneyland.
Walt took she and her sister Sharon to Griffith Park here in Los Angeles, and they would ride the merry-go-round you can find at the Crystal Springs area, and from that sprang the idea of Disneyland.
Right, because he was sitting there on the bench thinking, well, there should be a park that both kids and adults can enjoy together.
And Walt would read the story of Mary Poppins to Sharon and Diane every night, and from that, he thought, this would make a great film. I want to make a Mary film.
Mary Poppins. Never ever just Mary.
One thing about Diane Disney Miller, she was a big proponent of continuing her father's legacy. In fact, she helped the development of the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles with architect Frank Gehry, and then she also helped create the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco.
Diane had told the New York Times in 2009 that she really wanted to have her father be remembered as a person, not just a logo, which is why she founded the museum in San Francisco.
Okay.
She had literally met kids who didn't know Walt was a person.
Oh.
They thought it was just Disney was the name of the company.
So not only was her father a big name, but she actually became kind of a legend herself in promoting her father's legacy.
She will sorely be missed.
Prepare to make the jump to light speed.
Last week, Sarah and I visited Disneyland, where we met Thor.
Yay, I was very excited.
We had just seen Thor: The Dark World. Now we were meeting Thor because now there's a Thor meet and greet.
Mm-hmm. In fact, there were 3 things to do that day that were new for us. One was to see Thor.
New for the holidays.
New for the holidays, yes. One was to see Thor. One was to see Frozen.
When you say that we saw Thor, you really wanted to see Thor.
Well, of course, but I'm sure you did too, right?
I wanted to see Thor, but you had more of an invested interest in seeing Thor.
Well, honestly, all that week, in fact, the day before, several of our friends went to Disneyland and saw Thor and were posting photos and
That's
and
not
video.
just why you wanted to see Thor.
And I was jealous. I wanted to see Thor for myself.
Sarah's got a little crush on Thor.
Of course, if it was Chris Hemsworth, that would have been even better, but it was the Disney lookalike. But it was really funny going through the parks, and like all the female cast members we talked to were like, "Ooh, have you seen Thor yet? Ooh, he's cute."
Well, let's start by saying we went in. I was wearing my Thor helmet.
Yes.
That I wore on Halloween. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wear the big costume that I wore on Halloween, but I just wore the helmet. And Sarah wore her helmet that we had made for her.
Yeah, so we looked super cute. But note to anyone who is going, Thor starts his viewing at 11:30 most days.
Yeah, and it's
during the week.
In the Innovations Center.
Innoventions. Yes. But he starts at 11:30, and we actually got there at 11:20, and there was already a line. And in the next 10 minutes between 11:20 and 11:30, the line doubled.
Now that it's the holiday season,
Yeah.
those lines are going to get longer and longer.
Yeah, so I would suggest getting there at like 11 and just waiting in front of Innoventions.
Yeah, they have different Asgard props as you're waiting in line, so it is fun. And as you're ushered into the Asgardian throne
Throne room.
Thor comes out in his big mighty costume and the big mighty red cape,
Yes.
and he does his Asgardian speech, and then you go and meet Thor.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it was me, Sarah, and Thor. Well, actually, Sarah and Thor, because Sarah pushed me out of the way.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I
You didn't
said,
want me in
"Here,
the
sweetie,
photo.
take a camera."
You go over there and take pictures of me and Thor. We'll Photoshop you in later on.
Yeah, it was really funny. I think Thor is used to women wanting pictures with him because I don't know what I was gonna do, how to pose, but he immediately gave me his arm so I could hold on to that. I was like, oh, okay, he's used to this.
Yeah, then I insisted we all get a picture of us holding the mighty hammer.
Yeah.
So it was a good lookalike. He had the right accent. So meeting Thor, worth the 45-minute wait.
Yes.
Even if we had waited 55 minutes, it would have been worth it.
Oh, it would have been worth it, sweetie.
Yeah. And then we found out that there were Elsa and Anna from Frozen.
Yeah.
At a meet and greet.
Yeah, right where Rapunzel used to be, they have now changed that over into the Frozen meet and greet. So they've put snow on the building. It's very cute.
Animated Olaf.
Yeah, that's
watching
right.
the crowd.
Mm-hmm. And that wait wasn't as long either.
No,
but
we waited about 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah. Once again, this is in the midweek.
Yeah.
A midweek, Wednesday, I think.
So you go in there, and I always love the Disney meet and greets because those actors never break character.
No. No.
They never ever. They're so in character, and it's so fun. Except for that Tinkerbell we once saw.
Yeah.
Who she was deathly afraid of us, and by us I mean me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Deathly afraid of male.
Yeah.
Of the species.
Whenever I wanted to step close to her to take a picture, she would take 4 steps back. I would take another step forward. She would take 6 steps back.
Yeah. That was weird.
So Tinkerbell, not a friend of the male species.
No. But Frozen, those characters were great.
Yeah, those two, Elsa and Anna, their costumes are just beautiful.
Yeah.
And Sarah's gonna cosplay as Anna, so we're taking
Or Elsa, actually.
Elsa, the blonde one.
Yes.
So we're taking pictures of their costumes, and
I always find it funny when I'm taking pictures with characters. You know, a lot of times they expect you to interact like little kids, but I like to look at their costumes and all the details. So like I should be looking at their faces, but I'm like examining their costume and every detail, and I just can't help it.
so after about 35 minutes, they asked us to
Move along.
Yeah, and we moved along right into the Jingle Cruise. Instead of the Jungle Cruise, they have changed it over for the holidays as the Jingle Cruise. And the story behind that is the Jungle Cruise people who work there have become homesick for Christmas, and so they decided to decorate the cruise in Christmas decorations to bring Christmas there.
Yeah, we were excited about this, but by the end, there really wasn't any other holiday theme to it, other than them changing the names of the boats to holiday themed. But I thought we would see the lions and the piranhas and the snakes all wearing like Santa hats.
Yeah, that would have been cute, but it was just what he was saying. Like they
Yeah.
threw in some Christmassy jokes.
I'm sure what the patter the boat operators say is funny, but all we hear is and then the backside of water, yay! They hold the microphone so close to their mouths that you hear every other word.
Yeah, but the decorations were cute.
They had the whole park decorated in their Christmas theme, which was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like we were just there for Halloween.
Yeah, we'll have to go again now that Christmas time is in full swing.
Yeah, I'm still in Halloween mode, so it was hard to transition. I think Disney helped me get over that hump of Halloween to Christmas. Isn't there another holiday in between? Thanksgiving.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, although you never know it because all the stores are playing Christmas music now.
Well, they were playing Christmas music in July.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of reports about what Disney's going to do with Tomorrowland when it comes to Star Wars. And according to our insider, a lot of those details are almost there, but
Little bit inaccurate?
They're not quite accurate, especially when it comes to the Millennium Falcon. We promised we would not divulge any secrets, although I'm busting at the seams to tell you, but I promised I wouldn't. But
no, we can't.
We can tell you that what you've been hearing is just not totally there yet.
What have they been hearing?
They've been hearing about the Millennium Falcon being placed at what's those the rocket rides?
Rocket rods?
The rocket rods. That's where, right now, the general consensus is that's where the Millennium Falcon is going to be placed right there. Nope. And about some other merchandising, which is, well, there's going to be a lot of merchandising coming. Wow. Whoa. Save your money. Get a second or third job. Mortgage your house. 'Cause there's a lot coming.
Yes.
And it is really, really cool. And this is also the insider who told us Disney loves numbers. So please, please, please go to our Facebook campaign to bring Star Wars to Disneyland.
Yeah, search Facebook campaign to bring Star Wars to Disneyland. And it will
our campaign will pop right up, and please like it, because once again, Disney wants to see the numbers. And if Disney sees a lot of likes, they're going to bring Star Wars weekends here. You would think they would, but no concrete plans to bring Star Wars weekends to Anaheim, California. We need your help.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if it does come here, we'll be sharing everything with our Skywalkers out there. At Celebration 6, Sarah and I had met another Star Wars couple, Christina Groom and Anthony Hamedl. They had made a video similar to our Celebration 6. They had a contest where you would submit a video about how you're getting ready for Celebration 6.
Yes.
And we had made one called Slave Leia Joins the Party about how Sarah is getting ready for Celebration 6. And they did a similar video.
We kind of met in a line.
We met, in the line, because Christina had recognized you from your Slave Leia video.
That's right, yeah.
And then we recognized her from her Slave Leia video.
Yeah.
And we became good friends from there.
And we noticed we had more in common than just Star Wars. We had Disney in common, too. So they live in Florida, about 3 hours away from Walt Disney World. And they're always going there for Run Disney races. And we always see them on Facebook posting photos from Run Disney races, in which I get jealous. And then Richard and I post photos from all these meetings with Harrison Ford and stuff here in LA.
Our
and
outing
they
at
get jealous.
Disneyland.
Yeah, so we're constantly like one-upping each other. It's really funny.
It's a friendly competition.
It is. It is.
I don't think they know that, though.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, of course. So when I saw over this past week that they had run the Wine and Dine half marathon on their anniversary date of getting married and getting engaged, I said, okay, we have to have them on the show. So without further ado, here is the discussion with Christina and Anthony. Well, welcome to Skywalking Through Neverland.
Woo!
We thank you for being listeners from the very beginning.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, great.
Loving all your Skywalking Through Neverland posts on Facebook.
Yes.
It makes us feel so official.
Yeah.
We're now being used as a verb.
Yes.
Yeah, I think actually you guys were the ones who coined the phrase I'm skywalking through Neverland this weekend.
Yes.
And your first Run Disney race, or not your first, but your
The
first
first one of the new season.
Exactly. So speaking of Run Disney marathons, you guys just went to the Wine and Dine half marathon at Disney World.
Yes.
That is correct.
And that happened to coincide with a happy date in your history. Can you tell us all about that?
Let's see. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, 13 years ago, I was working as a public school teacher, and the Veterans Day holiday weekend was coming up, and it had been a really stressful week at work. So he called my cell phone and said, "Hey, do you want to go to Disney for the weekend?" And I was like, "Absolutely, yeah, this would be great." So he's like, "Yeah, I'll pack your bags. We'll get a room up there." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I get home, and he's like, "Yeah, I got booked at the Swan, and we're gonna have a great time." And I was like, "Awesome." So we get up there, and it's November 9th. This was when downtown Disney was still operating as Pleasure Island.
Yes.
So it had all the dance clubs, and he as we're driving up, he's like, we're gonna go dancing, we're gonna have a good time. And I was thinking, okay, perfect. So we get to the hotel, we check in, and I change into my dance clothes. I'm ready to, I'm ready to get on the dance floor and boogie. And he is like, well, why don't we go this way?
Yeah, I was trying to steer her kind of around towards the lighthouse out back by the
the Yacht and Beach Club.
And
Ooh.
like a beautiful spot. It'd be a great spot to propose. We can kind of take a little leisurely stroll, and it'll work in great. She won't mind.
But here's the problem. Once you tell me that I'm doing something, I'm one of those people that I don't change plans very easily.
Yeah, I know that very well. I'm looking at you, Sarah.
So he kept trying to detour me, and I kept derailing all of his efforts. So first it was the lighthouse that I was like, but we're going to take the buses over to downtown Disney. Okay, so we get on the bus and we get off the bus, and he wants to go over by there's a
like the little waterfront area. Like,
yeah.
oh, watch the fireworks at midnight. It'll be beautiful.
And I'm sitting here going, why? And
Must go to mannequins. Must go to mannequins.
I wanted to go to mannequins. So we get in line, and he's looking really tense the whole time. And I'm going, are you okay? What's going on? Why are you so stressed? Why are you looking tense? I had a bad day at work. And he's like, no, it's fine. So we get to mannequins, we get in line, we check in, get her, go up to the third floor. And, I don't know if you remember, but Mannequins was a, 3-story club with a rotating dance floor on the bottom floor. So you went in, you entered on the third floor and went down all these stairs and then got onto the spinning dance floor. And we're on the very last landing before getting down to the dance floor. And he just stops me. He grabs me, he turns me around, he goes, wait. Before we go out on the dance floor, can you do something for me? And I went, sure. And he goes, hold this. And he puts a ring in my hand.
Oh, my goodness.
And I had no idea, but he had been trying to propose all of these times, and he had the ring in his pocket. And the only thing that's going through his head is that the minute we get on the dance floor, that ring could fall out of the pocket, and it's on the rotating dance floor. It's going to go skidding away, and it's going to be gone.
Oh.
So
I'd just like to point out, too, this was before Aiden used the same line on Carrie. So, just throwing it out
and
there.
Sex in the City, we kind of lost it. We were watching that episode about a couple months later. We're like, oh my gosh!
From Sex in the City, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I was getting more of an Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom scenario.
Well, that was the image we both had in our heads afterwards. He was explaining to me why this happened, but because he proposed after midnight, he actually proposed to me on November 10th.
Okay.
So 2 years to the day later is when we got married.
Oh. And then it just so happened that the Wine and Dine Half Marathon, that actual run was happening on that night?
Yeah, well, actually, the first time we ran it was last year, and it actually started on our anniversary, and then, of course, right now our times, we're not quite sub 2 hours yet, so we're like, all right, well, this will be great. We'll start running on our anniversary, and we'll finish the day after, and we had T-shirts made up that, 10 years and still running strong.
Oh.
And, we ran in those. And then actually, ironically, we ran into another couple who was like, hey, it's our anniversary too. And then this year it was, we'd start the day before our anniversary and we'd actually finish on the anniversary. So again, 12 minutes after midnight, or actually it's more like 20 minutes after midnight, I guess 2 hours and 12 minutes after we started running, right. We, crossed the finish line holding hands and wished each other a happy anniversary. So it's a great run for us.
And it was really cool is that we were staying at the Swan again. Yep. So it was kind of like, full circle. It was kind of, that whole idea of, because we probably left our hotel at 10 o'clock at night, back on that night 13 years ago. And then, he proposed to me shortly after midnight. So it was kind of like, we started our race at 10 o'clock and crossed the finish line shortly after midnight. So it was kind of fun.
Nice.
Especially this time I didn't have to worry about a ring falling out of my pocket.
So now, out of all the Run Disney races you've run, are these your favorite because of that connection? Or do you have other favorites?
I mean, I would say this is definitely, for a lot of reasons. I mean, you've got the anniversary connection there, which is great. You've got the Food and Wine Festival, which is also great.
You cross the finish line and they give you wine or beer.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is my kind of race.
Which is fantastic.
Wine, beer, and a cigarette.
Sweetie, okay, Princess Half Marathon is good, but yeah, I think we need to go to the Wine and Dine.
It's all of a sudden, I mean, you cross the finish line and there's wine. It's like, okay.
It's the start of the holiday season up there. So like just the day before they had opened up the Osborne Spectacle of Lights. So it's neat to get to run through that as well.
Oh wow! Do they have it on while you're running through
Yes.
it? Oh my goodness! That's
Yes,
so
they have.
cool.
Last year's Wine and Dine half marathon, they had all of the Main Street Electrical Light Parade characters out along the course.
So you could stop and take pictures with them. We grabbed a nice picture with one of the dancing little turtle cars, which was always one of our favorites.
Yeah, so iconic. I can hear the music now in my head.
Yeah. That was one thing we did miss this year was, they retired the parade, so there was no light up characters, but it was still, they have a lot of characters along the course, as they always do for the Run Disney races, but having it at night is just kind of a neat little
twist.
A neat experience. Is it cooler at night, even though it is Florida?
Oh, much so.
Oh, yes.
I mean, just the difference from even running the 10-miler in October to now was, probably a good 10 degrees, 12 degrees, which makes a huge difference.
Right.
So, meaning it was like in the 90s.
It was actually really nice. It was 68 degrees, which, in Florida, that's coat weather.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
You guys have coats?
no.
Well, maybe a big sweater.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a heavy T-shirt.
Yeah. Now, did you dress up for this half marathon?
For this one, we actually did not. We did have matching T-shirts. We went a little simpler this time because, for the 10-miler, which was a month earlier, we went all out and ran as a Lady Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. So,
Awesome.
And this race, just because of scheduling, because it was so close to the previous one, so we kind of just went with the inspiration for the Wine and Food Festival itself. And we ran as the gray stuff because it's delicious.
The gray stuff from, that's so cute, from Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
Awesome.
Our shirt said, try the gray stuff, it's delicious. So,
Were they gray shirts?
Yep,
yes,
gray
they were
top.
gray shirts, gray, we were gray hats.
That's
And then,
perfect.
she had a sparkle skirt at the bottom. I had just, white shorts, symbolic
Of a plate.
Okay.
And then also we threw in, because the night before we had hit the Osborne lights, and it was like, oh, they have those fantastic, blinking and flashing and beeping lights that you can wear like as a necklace. They're like they're very reminiscent of the big bulbs. So we're like, oh, love those.
So he wore it as a necklace, and I actually wore it as a belt.
Yes. I'm a little bit wider than some of us.
Now, how many Run Disney races have you guys actually run?
Probably 8.
8 or 9.
About, yeah.
So we've done the Wine and Dine twice. We did the ESPN twice. We did Expedition once.
Yeah.
We did the Race for the Taste, which doesn't exist anymore. We did Tower of Terror 10-miler, 1 half marathon, 9.
Wow.
And our 10th is going to be the full marathon.
Yep.
Oh, for the first time ever?
Yes.
Yep.
First time ever, first ever full marathon.
Wow.
And we are going back to our full-on geeking out costumes for running this time around.
Yes.
What is your plans? What are your plans?
We're looking at an R2-D2 and a C-3PO.
Aww.
Who's going to be who?
I'm 5'2", so I was going to be
R2-D2.
Now, is this the one that's going to be held in February?
No, this is the January.
January. It's the one right before the Princess half, which is what we're going to, Richard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's right before the Tinkerbell, which you'll be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be doing the Tinkerbell.
Yeah, this will be my first marathon.
half marathon. Yes.
My first half marathon.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I suppose sometime after Christmas I should start training.
Yeah. Well, you guys are on a good training schedule, and are you going to be at the Princess half?
Yes, we are actually glass slipper challenging.
Great.
So we will be
me
doing
too.
the 10.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the 10K followed by the half marathon.
Yes. I will be joining you with that.
Woo!
I know. I'm
Also,
so
we can all
excited.
meet up in February.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
we
deal.
should all meet up in February. I'm bringing Richard. I'm bringing my mom and dad and my friend Monique, and we're all going to be running. And we're all going to look for, maybe we should all do a big costume together, something.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Something we can all do together.
So, a full theme, like a whole like multi-character group.
Yes.
So if you two are going to be R2 and 3PO, I'll be the gonk droid, and Sarah and her parents will be the Jawas.
Jawas. Hey, I'm a princess.
Princess Jawa.
Is there some way that we can find you online? Our listeners can find you online?
I mean, we're on Twitter and Facebook, and
there's also a web series that we had started.
2 years ago?
Yeah, deathbiteseries.com. Sadly, some of our people have become very popular down here in the theater community, and we've had a bit of a hard time finishing up the final episode.
Yeah, we had an 8-episode series season planned, and we shot and released 7 episodes, and the 8th is just basically on hiatus indefinitely because our lead actor has not stopped working.
If Ridley Scott can replace actors in Gladiator, I'm sure you can use CGI to do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You have a couple $1 million at your disposal, don't you?
So we, created this web series to, have something to work on and get work, and it worked for all of us. But unfortunately for us, and in terms of the production team, it worked for our lead actor a little too well.
Now, how far away do you guys live from Disney World?
3 hours.
3 hours. Okay, so not too bad at all.
Yeah, not quite as convenient as you.
Well, no, I guess not.
Actually, we're looking to make our first trip out to the Disneyland park in August for the half marathon there.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, you'll be back in April of 2015 for Celebration Anaheim, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We bought our tickets the first day there.
Woo!
Oh,
Join
good.
the club.
Well, thank you guys for taking time out in the midnight hour.
Yeah, to talk to us. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
May the force be with you. Neverland on Alderaan.
Exactly.
To infinity and beyond. Live long and prosper.
What?
Excelsior.
That I can support.
Nice.
All right, good night, you two.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, we were lucky enough to see Saving Mr. Banks a full month and a half earlier than the December 25th release date. Thanks
Which was good because Sarah was about to explode.
Oh, ever since hearing about this movie and then seeing 15 minutes of it at the D23 Expo, I knew that this movie was going to be my favorite movie of the year. So thanks to Lisa Rogolsky, who we met at the D23 Expo, we got to see it early. So yeah, Lisa, you and Richard and I, we were all lucky enough to see Saving Mr. Banks a full month and a half earlier than Christmas Day.
Yay!
I know, at a screening that you searched for online and told us about.
Yep. I found out that they had it at the Chinese theater the week before, and people were saying that there were screenings in Southern California. So I just Googled for half an hour until I found one.
That's awesome. It ended up being AARP.
Yep.
But luckily, they allowed non-members who were under 65 to attend.
It was pretty cool.
We all had to go in old age makeup in order to be legally there. So what did you think about Saving Mr. Banks?
I absolutely loved it. It exceeded my expectations, and I just was able to relate to it on so many levels. As a writer, I was able to relate to P.L. Travers' reluctance to want to give up her work to someone else to convert it to a film because it was so personal to her, and she couldn't stand to give up a part of herself because it felt like she would have to give up part of who she was in order to let Walt Disney turn her story into a movie. And also, I really liked that it contrasted the darkness of reality with the happiness and light Disney fantasy, and it wasn't afraid to show flashbacks of her dark past and show that sometimes life isn't like a Disney movie.
Now, going into this, did you think it was going to be a lighter movie because it was Disney, because it starred Tom Hanks?
Yeah, I didn't realize that it would be as dark as it was, and I was pleasantly surprised with it because, in a way, Disney movies sort of create a fantasy world where people think that everything is great, and it's not necessarily the case. So I wouldn't say that they lie to people, but like they sometimes deny the darker aspects of the world.
And when Walt Disney caught wind of the Mary Poppins books, it was because his daughters were reading he was reading the books to his daughters. And I'd like to see what he was seeing when he was reading the books to his daughters, because the Mary Poppins in P.L. Travers' head was obviously much different than what Walt Disney was seeing.
I have a feeling that the movie that Walt Disney made was pretty much exactly the way that he saw it.
Yeah, I'm
because he seemed pretty determined not to listen to her and to only say that he was going to listen to her so that she would sign over the rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the bouncing back and forth of the flashbacks, because you would see Emma Thompson, she would say something, and what did that mean? Or she would do something, and what did that mean? And then a few minutes later, they would cut back to the flashbacks, and it would explain to you exactly why she didn't like pears, or why she didn't like this or didn't like that.
Right.
That was why I thought that the writing style of this script was very similar to Once Upon a Time. Because in Once Upon a Time, Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz do like post-shadowing as opposed to foreshadowing, where something happens in the present and then we see something from the past and find out why. And that was something that was really unique to their writing on Lost and Once Upon a Time. But then I felt like this movie was one of the first movies that I've seen to also do that, which I thought was really cool because it's a really interesting writing technique.
Yeah, it also keeps the viewer interested.
Oh yeah, keeps them active.
It's like puzzle pieces that you're putting together in your mind as you're watching the movie.
It's a very interactive movie in that style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it sucks you in.
Now I know
doesn't let you go.
Have you read the books, Lisa?
I read one of the books many years ago. I know that Mary Poppins was not a very nice person, and I know that there were 4 children instead of 2, but there were twin babies in addition to Jane and Michael.
I know for me, I tried to read. I got about 10 pages in and I was like, I'm out. This is not my vision of Mary Poppins, because of course my vision of Mary Poppins is the
It almost sounds
Julie
like
Andrews, you know.
The Mary Poppins book version is very close to Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter.
I don't know if I can't speak for it. Any viewers out there, have you read all the books?
So Lisa, what did you think about the casting of Tom Hanks as Walt Disney?
I thought he was fine, but I actually would have preferred if they had cast an unknown, because it's so easy to just look at him and think of him as Tom Hanks because he's so well known. And if they had cast somebody who no one had heard of who looked like Walt Disney, you could just think of him as Walt Disney.
Yeah, I had kind of the same reaction when I first heard that Tom Hanks was going to be cast as Walt Disney. But I got to say, when I was watching the movie, I forgot it was Tom Hanks up there, and I was looking at Walt Disney.
One of the things that I thought was really enjoyable about the movie was how both P.L. Travers and Walt Disney were on equal levels in terms of how stubborn they were.
Yes.
And to see them butting heads was like watching this really elaborate dance.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's like the perfect way of putting it.
And both of them were extremely skilled at what they were doing. She was extremely skilled at pissing everyone off and making them want to not buy the movie. And he was extremely skilled at not giving up until she would sign over the rights.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about Emma Thompson as P.L. Travers?
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I think I was mesmerized by her performance, by her eyes, by her face. Like,
we had seen her on the Ellen Show that day, and she's a very goofy woman.
Yeah, she's very bawdy, is what I believe they describe her as.
Right. And then when we're watching this, I was beginning to think, wait, can she pull off P.L. Travers? I know she's a great actress, but seeing how goofy she is, I was beginning to doubt, can she pull it off? And wow, she really pulled it off, because I was not liking this character just because she was so stubborn, so stuck up, and just.
Oh, I loved her. She
But
was
I just
real,
wanted to jump to the screen and say, just relax. P.L. Travers, unwind.
Well, as Emma Thompson was saying on the Ellen Show, it was very freeing to play a character like that. Like, who wouldn't want to play a character who could speak her mind and say exactly what she was feeling at any given time?
But she was being stubborn just to be stubborn.
Well, in parts of the movie, yes.
She didn't
But
want
that's what made it so funny.
She
Yeah.
didn't want the color red to be in the movie just because she wanted to see how far she could push Walt.
I could not take her seriously saying that she did not want the color red with bright red lipstick on.
Yeah.
Her red lips said, I don't like the color red. And I
Yeah.
was like, I can't take you seriously right now.
I think she was just testing Walt to see how far he would actually go to keep the rights, you know.
Yeah,
And
I think she wanted to make Walt see red just to
Yeah.
push it that much even
Yeah.
further.
Well, I think Walt got the last laugh on that one because, as you know, Mary Poppins, every signature outfit of Mary Poppins has a pop of coral or
Right.
red in there.
Right. Mary Poppins wore a lot of red. And Walt also got his way, got the last laugh by putting animation in the movie
Yes.
after he guaranteed her that there would be no animation in the movie. But if you actually listen to all the things she said, he didn't listen to anything that she told him to do.
But that was
she
the
said
one-
that she didn't want Mr. Banks to have a mustache. She didn't want any songs in it. So
But that was the one thing
far from the only thing.
She was very adamant about no silly cartoons, and then he went and did it.
She was equally adamant about Mr. Banks not having a mustache.
P.L. Travers was working out all of her aggressions and her anger and all her issues through her dad, or because of her dad.
Because of her dad,
through Mary Poppins. So everything that
Like her books, as she wrote the book, she was kind of working out her
she was
issues.
working out the issues with her dad and with herself and with her family through Mary Poppins. And then when Walt wanted to change everything, she said, no, 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 because I think Mary Poppins was her therapy. When she was done writing the Mary Poppins book, she tied it in a bow and she put it away.
Yes.
She was done with that. But as we all know from watching the movie, she was far from being done therapeutically.
It was just a big struggle of her life to have to give up the rights to something that hit so close to home for her.
Right.
But
After-
it's not going to change who she is.
Yeah. Now, after seeing this movie, I really want to see Mary Poppins again. In fact, I think they should do like a double feature. They should show
Maybe they
Saving
will.
Mr. Banks, Mary Poppins. Either order really would work.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
perfect.
Keep
I don't
an
know
eye
why
out
they
when it
haven't
comes
thought about
out.
that yet.
Yeah, in fact, one of the great moments in Saving Mr. Banks is actually the very beginning because it mirrors the very beginning of Mary Poppins. And I loved that.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah.
And then it got even better.
Yeah, just gets better from there.
Do you think there's going to be an Oscar in the future for Emma Thompson, Tom Hanks, or
There
even
movie?
Best
better
Picture?
be.
Yeah. I agree. I think this is definitely a big contender for movie of the year.
Yeah, I don't see
Best
Tom
Picture.
Hanks winning just because he's played so many of these characters before.
But Emma Thompson, definitely. I mean, I think she stole all her scenes, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder. And the little girl who played the young P.L. Travers in the flashback scenes, she should just get
she
a
was
special achievement
amazing.
award. She was that fantastic. I mean, she had to play so many heavy, dramatic moments.
Yeah, with Colin Farrell, who was excellent as well.
And it never seemed like she was acting.
No, yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, I almost wanted to keep on that story of the 1906 P.L. Travers when she was a little girl.
Yeah,
was
that
so
could have been a
fascinating.
separate movie in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just needed to extend some of those scenes and they could have a second movie.
I thought it was interesting how the director said he shot those scenes with an anamorphic lens.
Anamorphic lens.
So that it looked bigger and wilder than the scenes in Walt's office that were enclosed.
You know, I think I was just so caught up in the story that I wasn't looking at the
No.
directorial style.
No, but it gives you an overall effect
Oh,
that
yeah.
you took
Oh,
away
yeah.
from the movie.
When you look at Australia, the big vistas,
Yeah.
to a little rehearsal office where she was rehearsing with B.J. Novak and Jason Schwartzman
Yeah.
as
As the Sherman Brothers.
yeah. Well, I thought they were just great as the Sherman Brothers.
Oh, yeah, they were awesome. I
Yeah.
love them.
Like go and they got to rehearse with Dick Sherman. Like
Oh.
they got to go to his house. They talked about this at D23 Expo. They got to go to his house and like Jason Schwartzman, who played Dick Sherman, actually got lessons from him on how he actually pounds the piano keys, like plays the piano.
On
Just
how
like-
to be himself.
Yeah.
This is how you be me. That's got to be an
Yeah.
interesting
Oh
thing
my
to
gosh.
do.
Yeah. And Dick Sherman is just a little ball of energy. He's so awesome.
And just to see these two Disney songwriters, who I'm sure at every prior meeting, it was always full of yes, and let's do this and let's do that. And now here comes P.L. Travers. No singing.
I loved how cheerful they were, though, even when she was yelling at them.
Well, they didn't know at first that she hadn't given the rights yet.
Yeah.
To the film.
But she wore him down within time.
Yeah.
But just
And then as soon as she met them, she was like, no, this film is not going to be a musical. And they just kind of looked at each other and they was like, huh, oh well. And they went to write
apparently
the
you don't know
songs.
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
If you're here, that means there's going to be music in your movie, lady.
Yeah.
But I really just loved how honest this movie was, because Disney doesn't usually make movies that are honest about reality. And I was really impressed that they went there with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a movie that you must see, even if you're not a Disney fan. I
Right.
love behind the scenes of the making of well-known movies, and this movie just nailed it.
Yeah. And in
Yeah.
fact, bring a whole entire box of tissue. That's my advice.
Yeah, I think that it could be appreciated by both Disney fans and non-Disney fans alike, for sure, because there's so much in it for both sides of the coin.
I agree.
mean, and they both have equally strong spokespeople. You know, there's Walt Disney for the bright, happy Disney fans, and then there's P.L. Travers for the people who feel like real life isn't like a Disney movie.
Yeah.
So anyone who sees it has a character to relate to. And they're both on equal terms in how stubborn they are and how determined they were to get what they wanted, which made it really fun to watch.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for joining us on our review of Saving Mr. Banks. Now, do you and Sarah want to take us out by singing Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Woo! Yay!
This was a full Mary Poppins weekend. We had first seen Saving Mr. Banks at a preview screening, and then last night we saw Mary Poppins at Throwback Thursday at the El Capitan in Hollywood.
Yeah, it was so exciting to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, this was your first time seeing it on the big screen.
My very first time.
It was great. The place was packed.
Yeah, and everyone would clap when like Julie Andrews came on screen as the title. The title came on, and then Julie Andrews was billed, and everyone clapped. Dick Van Dyke was billed, everyone clapped.
Everyone clapped for everything.
Yeah, it was great. And
the kids, Mr. Banks.
during Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, everyone was clapping along to the music.
Oh, it was a very interactive experience.
It was great. It was so much fun.
This was the first time you had seen it in the theater.
Yeah, in fact, I loved being able to see it on such a large screen. I found myself looking at the background a little bit more than I would have. Like, even in the Jolly Holiday sequence, all the background is totally chalk drawings. And I didn't really realize that seeing it on my little screen at home.
This was the first time I had seen Mary Poppins in the theater since 1973,
Wow.
where I didn't remember all that much because as a 4-year-old, I'm running up and down the aisles, pestering everyone else. Back then, we didn't have cell phones to pester everyone else in the theater.
Oh, man, I would have smacked you.
I remember watching the cartoon, but then during the talkie scenes, my 4-year-old head just couldn't comprehend it.
Oh.
So when my mom made me sit down, I would proceed to play with my Planet of the Apes dolls, because I brought toys, and I lost Galen's shoe, and I made it a terrible experience for everyone around me because I would not shut up because I lost my doll's shoe.
Oh, and if you know Richard, he's a stickler for every item of his dolls.
Every
must
Star
be
Wars
there.
action figure
Yes.
has its gun, its lightsaber, has everything.
Still has it.
And when I
to this
couldn't
day.
find the shoe, I remember my mom and my sister just being furious at me because I would not shut up. I could not find this shoe. To this day, I have the Galen action figure doll hanging in my office, and he's still shoeless.
Sans shoe. Well, let's actually get into our next segment, which we interviewed Lisa Rogolsky again about her current passion, which is mermaids.
She's one of those really active fans because she's an author, she's an aspiring screenwriter. So we thought, who better to interview for our next segment for MOUSEDROID Mixer?
Be our guest, put our service to the test. Tie your napkin around your neck, and we'll provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvres.
In this segment of MOUSEDROID Mixer, we are talking to Lisa Rogolsky. Now, Lisa is someone that we had met at D23 Disney Expo, and they were both dressed as...
Oh,
Sophia the
Sophia the First. Yes, we met in line.
That was
on
actually
Sunday.
how we met.
Yes.
Because we both got excited
so
that we
cute.
were wearing the same costume.
Yeah, we're the first Sophia the First we saw that day. Although there ended up being 7 of us?
Yeah, because they were doing the panel that day with the meet and greet with Wayne Brady and Tim Gunn and the character Sophia. So that's when all the Sophias came out of hiding.
Yes.
Sarah went thinking, I'm going to be the only Sophia there. I'll be the only one there. Get in line, and there's Lisa.
I thought maybe I would be, but then I was thinking, well, since they're doing the panel that day, there's a possibility I'll find one or two.
Mm-hmm.
And there ended up being, 15, 16?
Yeah, maybe not quite. If you count the little girls.
If you count the little girls,
well, that's what I was talking
there was
about,
20.
Oh, yeah, and there was that adorable Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, those 3 little girls who were dressed up as 3 good fairies, and they asked me for my picture, and I just wanted to cry because they were so adorable.
That's right, because they usually teach you on the show.
Yeah. I called them Miss Flora, Miss Fauna, Miss Merryweather, and I said I would see them again at Royal Prep.
Oh, I'm sure they were very, very pleased.
They were so
And
adorable.
was Wayne Brady and Tim Gunn impressed with your costume?
They were sort of rushed, I think. So they didn't really get much of a
So
chance.
for them, they've seen one Sophia, they've seen them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is live action. Live action Sophia.
Yeah.
Now, you are also very interested in mermaids.
Yes, my favorite movie is The Little Mermaid, and it's been my obsession since it came out when I was 3 years old, and it was the first movie I ever saw.
So do some quick math. You were born in the mid-'80s. Okay.
I'm 27, but people think I'm 14. And
You're 27?
yeah, and all the mermaid stuff and princess stuff I have does not help.
You know, I thought you were 18, 19.
That's better than what I usually get, so
I could see people saying, you're about 14.
yeah.
You have a very young air about you.
Thank you.
Well, people who collect Disney and Star Wars and any kind of pop culture fandom, superheroes, walk around with superhero t-shirts, they generally think of us as being younger than we are.
Yeah, we're all kids at heart, I think.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So go ahead, you were telling us about mermaids in the media.
Right. After The Little Mermaid came out in 1989, there weren't really that many other mermaid things out there. And in 2009, I was sort of disappointed that not many people were familiar with the original Hans Christian Andersen story of The Little Mermaid. So I wrote a novella on it called Of Land and Sea, The Untold Story of the Little Mermaid. And it uses my pen name Lisa Dawn because it sounds better than Lisa Rogolsky. But and for a while after that, there still wasn't that much. And then someone else wrote a similar book called Mermaid.
And what year was that?
I believe 2011 or 12.
Okay.
And then since then, in the past 3 years, there's just been a huge explosion of mermaids everywhere in the media. There's been the Water Song series, book series, and then the Forgive My Fins book series. And in Australian television, there's a live action show called H2O Just Add Water that came out, I believe, around 2010. And then there was a recent spin-off of that show called Mako Mermaids. And both series are available to watch on Netflix. And they both take place in the same world, but H2O is about 3 human girls who become mermaids, and Mako Mermaids is about 3 mermaids who become humans.
Do you know what age range they're geared for?
They're geared for middle grade girls, I think.
Okay.
For the most part.
What about the book series?
Those are a little bit more mature, but
Okay.
still within the tween teenage-ish range.
Yeah.
And I also recently discovered this amazing Filipino series that came out, I think, around 2010 that I think every Little Mermaid fan should know about because it's so obscure, but it's fantastically done. It's called Jezebel. It's pronounced Jezebel, but apparently there are no J's in the Filipino language, so it's spelled D-Y, Jezebel.
Oh, weird. D-Y-E?
Diesevel.
Okay.
And it's a telenovela, which is like a mini series but longer. So in 64 episodes, it tells a complete story. And every single character is extremely well developed, and every plot line is like explained, and just every loose end is tied, and it's just the most fantastic version of The Little Mermaid I've ever seen. And it's only available with English fan subtitles on a site called viki.com, V-I-K-I, because I looked up the DVD set because I loved it and I wanted to buy it, but apparently they don't have English subtitles on the official DVD set. So
going back to something you had said earlier, is Disney's Little Mermaid based on the Hans Christian Andersen story?
Yes, except
I did not know
that they changed the ending, which is good because it didn't have as happy of an ending originally.
Was she skewered?
No, although most people think that in the original Hans Christian Andersen story, she dies and turns to sea foam, which isn't entirely true. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Apparently he originally ended it that way, but then he changed it, so the current official version of the story ends with her because she wanted to become human so that she could have a human soul, and she can only get a soul by marrying the prince. And in the original version, the prince marries another woman, so she was supposed to die and turn to sea foam, but the Little Mermaid's sisters traded their hair to the sea witch in exchange for a magical knife. And they told the Little Mermaid that if she kills the prince with this knife, she can join them as a mermaid again.
Why didn't they make this as a movie? I'm on board with this.
Wait, let her finish.
But of course, she can't bring herself to kill the prince because she loves the prince. So she throws the knife into the water, and in the current version of the original story, these spirits come down to her from the air, and they say, we're the daughters of the air, and you have a kind soul because you couldn't bring yourself to kill the man that you loved. So in exchange for your kindness, you can join us as a daughter of the air, and you don't have to die and become sea foam, and in 300 years, as daughter of the air, you'll gain a soul. So it's kind of...
Interesting.
It's not.
But that was all retold in Little Mermaid Part 2, right? Didn't that go to DVD? Didn't that just come out yesterday?
Well, there is a Little Mermaid too, but we don't like to talk about that very much because it's not very good. About Ariel's daughter, Melody.
Was it DreamWorks?
No, it's
no.
Well, I had never known that The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually read the Hans Christian Andersen book, because when Little Mermaid came out, I was 8, and that was my obsession for a while.
In the credits, does it say this?
No, but it's public domain now, so you can look up the original story online and read it in its entirety. It's fairly short. It's like 8 pages. But my novella expands on the life of the woman who married the prince in the first half of the book. And the second half is all about what it means to be a daughter of the air, because that wasn't explained very well, and I thought it was a really cool thing to explore story-wise.
Yeah. As a daughter of the air, like what kinds of things did you create for that?
Well, in the Hans Christian Andersen story, he says that every time a child does a good deed, they get a week removed from their sentence before they get a soul, and every time a child does a bad deed, they get a week added to the 300 years. So I went
to a school like that.
I made that my own a bit by making it more about, as a daughter of the air, she has to help people who are in trouble, and if the people are receptive and they act kindly as a result, then her spirit raises further into the air. And if she has trouble helping people, and if they can't help themselves, like become better people, then she sort of gains weight and becomes lower toward the ground.
What?
Well, that's a fate worse than anything else.
So she ends up helping the woman who actually marries the prince as a daughter of the air. And she can only speak to her in her dreams because she's a spirit, so people can't see her.
And how many of these books did you write?
Well, that's the only one I wrote based on Little Mermaid, but I've also written, I believe, 6 books in total, 5 or 6.
What?
5 or 6. The most recent one called Rebirth, A Fairy's Tale, and it's about a fire fairy who falls in love with a blacksmith.
Ooh.
And are these self-published? Did you have a publisher?
Yeah, I tried to find a literary agent, but after sending out hundreds of queries and getting rejection letters, I just decided to go ahead and self-publish. So they're all available on Amazon.com. They're all under my pen name, Lisa Dawn.
Yeah, it's great now where you can publish your own stuff out there.
Yeah,
and you
it's
have it
fantastic.
on Amazon and just bypass the middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you ever get feedback from those books?
I mean, the Little Mermaid one, of Land and Sea, has 3 reviews on Amazon, but 2 of them are really, really short, like a sentence. And
we liked it.
The 3rd one was written by a friend of mine, and she gave me really, really positive reviews for all the books of mine that she's read.
That's good.
Have they sold pretty well on Amazon?
I don't really try to market them that much, so I'm always surprised when I sell some, but they've sold relatively well considering that I haven't really tried.
Good.
Well,
So just put yourself out there. That's really brave.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to write each book?
Couple months, probably.
Oh, wow.
Did you edit them yourself, or did you have someone edit them?
My mom proofread them for me, because if you try to proofread something that you wrote yourself, you just keep seeing what you saw in your head, and your eyes just glaze right over the typos.
I'm writing something right now, and it's like, this is perfect, this is gold. I'll show it to someone else. Rich, seriously?
Yeah, it's challenging to write as fast as your thoughts are going and still focus on the grammar.
Wow.
Yeah, you may have something visualized in your head.
Like, it sounds
knowing
great
that
in your mind.
the reader cannot see what's inside your head.
Yeah.
That'd cost a little bit more. Now, Once Upon a Time now has mermaids.
Right.
The last,
I'm very excited about that.
Third season.
So we're in the
the
third
season
season
opening
now.
of Once Upon a Time had a mermaid subplot.
I was very excited to see them in the pilot because the creators of the show, Eddie and Adam, said that the Little Mermaid story about Ariel would not be introduced till November 3rd.
Oh.
So I was thinking that I wouldn't see anything with mermaids until November 3rd. So I tuned into the pilot thinking, well, this is going to be all right, but the show isn't going to get very good until November. And then I saw that they included mermaids in the pilot, and I was like, all right, way to go. Jump on the bandwagon, America. 'Cause
Awesome.
The other 2 shows that I referenced, H2O and Jezebel, are Australian and Filipino, so America hasn't really done much with the live-action mermaid phenomenon. So it's about time that they started to, although I was a little disappointed that the mermaid in Once Upon a Time had a really fake-looking CGI tail, because all of these other shows, they have these beautiful tails that people have actually created through like visual effect, well, not visual effects, special effects, and they have monofins in them, so they're actually swimmable, and they create like these realistic looking scales, and they're actually companies that do this and sell them online for a ton of money, like $1,000. One of them is called Marabella Studios, and people actually buy these tails and swim in them, and some people actually get paid to do photo shoots and music videos and commercials wearing their mermaid tails and swimming in them. So that's become really popular, especially within the last 3 years. Probably because of The Little Mermaid, the viewers of that show have grown up, because that generation is now in their 20s.
Wow.
And they wanted to become mermaids themselves, so they've really advanced this technology where they could create very realistic looking swimmable mermaid tails.
That's so interesting. You know, as a kid, we had a pool in the backyard that was just put in like right when Little Mermaid came out, and I actually would put a little diving hoop, like a small one, around my ankles so I would swim like a mermaid, and I would pretend like my King Triton's kingdom was in my backyard in the water.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's so funny that people grew up.
It wasn't
actually
until she was
trying to do
18
that.
where she believed she really wasn't a mermaid.
Oh.
We just saw something on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, Lisa had referred this to the site. What's her name?
Hannah Fraser.
Hannah Mermaid, I guess is her name
she uses
on
goes by
Facebook.
Hannah Mermaid on Facebook. I actually first saw her on an episode of 2020 because they had a special about like real life superheroes.
I really thought she was a mermaid.
And there was
she had a
segments
really
about
good looking tail.
Yeah, she has some beautiful pictures on her site, and she's created many tails, it looks like.
Yeah, she's really well known for that, which is why it's a shame that Once Upon a Time didn't try to obtain a tail like that for their show. But I thought it was cool that the mermaid had the magic seashell that she used, and she made everyone think that she was creating the storm, but it turned out that it was really their anger toward each other.
Little symbolism going on there, thanks to the mermaid.
So I liked the writing for the mermaids on Once Upon a Time, but come on, like with shows like H2O, Mako Mermaids, and Jezebel, they could have done a much better job.
I worked on a film once
on their budget
called Treasure Island. We had to make a mermaid tail. And that's very hard to do when it has to be functioning and always flipping, and sooner or later cable snaps, you're down for 3 hours until you can get another one fixed.
No.
Yeah, so when I was watching that, I did notice it was CGI, but then all those memories came back thinking that's going to be a really hard thing to do, especially in the water or on the ship when her tail is flapping like a little puppy dog tail.
Right.
Because I'm looking at that thinking, okay, whap, 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 snap.
But these other shows have done such a fantastic job with it that I really was looking forward to seeing Once Upon a Time's take. Yeah, so that's fairly recent where they've been able to advance the art of creating mermaid tales to the point where they could actually make television shows about live-action mermaids and still have it look believable, and it looks very believable. These shows are all fantastic.
Wow.
Is any part of the tail CG, or is it all a big giant prosthetic?
They're all big giant prosthetic, and they all swim in them. They show them swimming in the water. They show them out of the water. It's great.
Wow.
It's really well done.
The mermaid that we had seen on that Facebook page, what I was really impressed with her pictures that you couldn't see her knees. You could see where the tail bent, but you couldn't see the little lumps that were her knees, which I thought was very attention to detail there was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I have seen a lot of mermaids where you can obviously see, well, there's two knees right there, but hers was perfectly rounded.
In the Australian shows, H2O Just Add Water and the spin-off Mako Mermaids, they do a really good job with hiding that too, where their tails are just really long and straight, and like they sort of bend a little, but you can't really tell where their knees are.
So now, along with being a mermaid aficionado, you're also a rotoscope artist. Which films did you work on?
I worked on most of the recent Marvel movies, Captain America, Thor, The Avengers, Iron Man 3.
What was your specific job? What did you have to do?
Well, as a rotoscope artist, basically, I just traced everything on the computer to help with the conversion process.
So you do like frame by frame tracing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've done that once before.
We had to
really
do that
hard.
on our fan film TPZ, and I think we tried for about 4 minutes and said, forget it.
Yeah, yeah. It's so attention to detail.
It's extremely tedious. Yeah, but it's
amazing.
It's a good job
that you do.
How long did it take you for each film?
It depends on the movie. Several months. Titanic was our biggest project. Took a year.
Wow.
Because it's like 2 movies. It's really long.
Is there any scenes that you can look at and go, that's my scene, I did that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I always point out my shots.
You must be a lot of fun at the movie theater.
What's your favorite shot that you've done?
Well, I worked on Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters, and there was a really cool scene with a dragon weaving in and out of the water where they're all riding it, and I thought that looked really neat.
Nice.
So that was fun to roto.
Nice. So you rotoscope the part out so that they can be put on a different 3D plane?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow.
Wow. Which part of Titanic do you call your own?
Well, I worked on so many different shots. It's really, I mean, it's not like we get like, a certain amount of minutes, like you'll do this 5 minutes, you'll do this 5 minutes. It's actually divided up into a bunch of different shots, and it could be any part of the movie that you get.
So if you worked on Captain America and Thor, did you see them months before everybody else?
I saw shots, but there was no audio, so I had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
It's not until we finally go to the screenings that we figure out what they were actually doing in the shots that we rotoed, and everything starts to make sense. Because when we're rotoing it, it's like random parts of the movie, and it's like, why are they holding this? Why are they running out there and doing that? And then you watch the movie, and it's like,
Oh, Captain America's a good guy. Yeah, this makes sense.
How interesting.
What was the last film that you worked on?
Well, we worked on several films before I got laid off. And we were kind of working on them all at the same time. So it was like Pacific Rim, Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. Was it Star Trek Into Darkness, maybe?
Ooh.
And we were kind of doing them all at once, so it wasn't like one specific film when I left.
Did you work on Phantom Menace?
No.
Since you're very closely tied to the 3D industry, I'm not sure you're the right person to ask about this, but how do you feel about the 3D conversions in films that weren't shot for 3D?
Oh, I think they look better than the films that are shot. In fact, that's one of the reasons they have conversions, because if you shoot them in 3D and something doesn't look like it's quite on the right plane, or if it looks too close, too far away, there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it because it's already shot, and you can't edit the footage unless you go in and rotoscope it from scratch again. And if you do it the first time, then you have a lot more control over how close and how far away everything looks, and you can make it look exactly the way the director wants it to.
There's more room to play.
Yeah, there's a lot more room to play.
It seems like the 3D, it goes into the screen rather than out to the screen. So in other words, I like the 3D that's gimmicky. I like
Me
the
too.
right to your face.
I love that. I keep
love
saying that.
And why they don't do it anymore, I don't know.
I feel the exact same way.
I love those old Vincent Price movies where he would just, you could tell he's just poking something at the camera just to poke it at the audience.
When the characters are coming out of the screen, it's like the most awesome thing ever. It's like they're in my world.
But people will look down on that.
They
it's
do.
too gimmicky. Well,
Really?
Yeah.
The company I worked for looked down on that too.
They did?
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
They said it's unprofessional. And I totally disagree. I love it when it's coming out of the screen.
Then there should be a new name for 3D to show you that it's coming out at you. 3-dimensional at you. In fact, there was a movie
3D
in
pop-up something.
In 83 called Coming At Ya. That's what I'm looking for. A movie that's coming at you.
That's before our time.
That's when you had to wear the cardboard glasses with a red lens and a blue lens.
Yep.
The analog.
We've come a long way, baby.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work on video or DVD, but if you can ever catch that, I think it'd be fun for you to see a movie called Coming At Ya.
Is that actually about 3D, or is that just the title and it has absolutely nothing to do with it?
I've got no idea. I haven't thought about that movie for 20 years.
It just sounds like a
It just came right
coincidence.
at it was the same summer as Jaws 3D.
Ooh.
Which was fun because the shark came right at you.
They actually made that?
They actually made...
Because they did a parody of that in Back to the Future, too.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know that they actually
That was
made it.
directly correlated to Jaws 3D with Dennis Quaid.
I'm just thinking of Marty McFly, like, running away when the shark came out of the movie
It comes
theater.
and engulfs him, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a parody on the parody. And in the marquee, do you know who directed that? Jaws
Nope.
3D?
In which...
In Back to the
in
Future,
Back to the
too.
Future?
It's directed by
Steven Spielberg? I'm
Max
assuming...
Spielberg, his son.
Little Mermaid? Little Mermaid?
Fine.
There was a Little Mermaid animated
Little
series.
Mermaid, I'll be out in the car. So we're going to wrap it up here with Lisa. Any final thoughts?
I can't think of anything, but it was really, really awesome being able to do this. And every Little Mermaid fan should watch Jezebel because it's amazing with a DY.
Oh.
With a DUI?
With a DUI?
DYES.
Oh, the
as opposed to with a J.
DYES.
I thought you have to get a DUI, then watch it.
Yes.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Edit R2.
Star Wars is everywhere.
My name, you know, is C-3PO.
Kellogg's C-3POs.
Oh no! Detonation!
Who?
I'm a teenager from outer space.
In today's vintage video clip, we're going to show you a segment from the Richard Pryor show. This was a sketch comedy show, variety show he had in the late 70s. And in this, Richard runs the Star Bar. First we had Wuhrer from Star Wars. Then we had Mena from the Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, little did you know, Richard Pryor was also a cantina bartender. And in this clip, which is really funny, they use all of the original Star Wars Cantina costumes.
Ooh.
There's Rhodians, there's Snivians, there's Ithorians. Many may know that as Hammerheads.
Were you excited to see this on TV?
I was really excited because some of the characters are wearing costumes from Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
The Star Wars Cantina masks, but Planet of the Apes costumes.
That's interesting.
Which, being a big Planet of the Apes fans, I was excited because here were two worlds being merged.
Kind of like Disney and Star Wars.
Exactly. So it was really, really thrilling for me. I didn't really understand what was going on or why they were wearing Planet of the Apes costumes, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
As an 8-year-old when I saw this, it was more Star Wars on TV.
Now, did you get the jokes at all?
I got the visual jokes.
Okay.
And I was just so busy looking at the costumes, I didn't really understand Richard Pryor's humor, but I did know that it was for adults. So
You did know?
Yeah. So
Okay.
as a kid watching this, I thought, hey, I'm watching something that's kind of taboo. But yeah, it's okay because it's Star Wars.
Right.
So here it is, Richard Pryor's Star Bar.
Harbeck hit 4,000, but he had a laser bat. This man hit it with a piece of wood. And what the hell you know about it? Your brain's about to fall out your head. Listen, hold it. Yeah, Starbuck. It must be for you. You said the ugliest? Yeah, your wife wants you to come home. He said, with the water, with the water. Okay. She said, water, go to water, get it, water, get it, water, get it. A double? You got it. You in love? That's all right. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Here. Did you get her that hairdo? Hey, dude, I told you don't touch me. I don't give a damn what you do when you don't touch me. Oh, good. One to go. Good. Buzz, you got to clean out one of them eyes. That's your type. You all right? You got a lot of heart, you know that? Hey, why don't you watch where you're going? You got the biggest eyes in the place. That was the devil, right? I know the devil when I see him. You cheating! Hey, on it! You did twice over here! You did... They're about to suck me to death! Take him in the back room. While you're back there, get your little heart.
So a few weeks ago, I had mentioned that I found some old journals from when I was in the 3rd and 4th grade, and I think it's just fun to tell listeners what I was doing on a specific date. On today's Journal of the Rich, we take you back to
November 29th, 1977. For Thanksgiving, we went to my cousin's house. I ate most of the stuffing. I slept over for days and went to the mall to see Santa Claus, but the line was too long. We went in a toy store, Christopher, and I got a Star Wars poster. 3PO and R2 was on it.
We had auditioned hundreds of kids to play the 10-year-old Rich, and we finally landed on Ty Wood from Los Angeles, California. Thanks again, Ty. Okay, he was the son of a friend of mine, and
Well, they don't need to know that.
do they know this now?
No, shh. Let's move on to our Star Wars and Disney dates.
This week in Star Wars Disney dates, well, we got a lot to share with you. On November 24th, 1985, the second of the televised Ewoks movies, Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, airs on ABC. Did you watch this when it was first aired?
You know what? Not when it was first aired, because I wasn't into Star Wars at that point.
But there were Ewoks.
Yeah, I know, but when I got into Star Wars at around 10 or 11 years old, we were at the local video store, and I saw these movies, the Ewok movies, and I was like, oh, what are these? And I rented them. I was very excited.
I have them on DVD. We'll have to watch them at some point.
Yes.
Because we're coming up on their anniversaries.
In fact, anyone who wants to watch and review those episodes or reminisce with us, maybe you can be on our show.
That would be a cool segment.
That would be a good episode, yeah.
Nice. And as a side note, Michael McAllister won an Emmy for Outstanding Visual Effects for Ewoks: The Battle for Endor.
Well, on November 24th, 1994, on this Thanksgiving Day, the 3D movie Honey, I Shrunk the Audience replaced Captain EO at Epcot. But 26 years later, Captain EO had the last laugh and replaced Honey, I Shrunk the Audience with the Captain EO tribute.
So I guess Rick Moranis has to die in order for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience to come back as a tribute. It's kind of a yin and yang. But actually, this is where the Star Wars 3D adventure is going to go. Mm-hmm. Now that you mention it, in 2015.
Yeah, so that's going to replace all of those.
This is where they're going to put together a 20-minute montage of all 6 movies in 3D.
Very
So even
excited.
if Rick Moranis does die, and I hope he doesn't die, you lost your time slot.
So, November 24th, 2010, Disney's first animated 3D feature, Tangled, is released in theaters.
Best day ever!
It was so exciting. I went and saw it at the El Capitan with my mom, who was in town for Thanksgiving, and it was totally, oh my gosh, this movie was, I think I cried 3 times during the movie. It just touched me in such...
I've never heard you so excited after a movie.
Yeah.
As when you came home.
It was like a mixture of all the Disney princess movies that I had seen, plus Indiana Jones and that whole, adventure story. So the two mixed together just made for an awesome movie.
So how many feature films did Disney have?
Oh, that's right. Well, when we went to the El Capitan, they gave us these special limited edition coins, and they said 50th movie. And so Tangled is actually the 50th animated movie that Disney has done.
On November 25th, 1992.
22. 92.
Yeah, maybe Bunny Peace was born in 92, but not Sheila Fraser, who played Aunt Beru in Star Wars A New Hope. She would have been 91 years old this week. Phil Brown, who played Uncle Owen, I have his autograph on my Star Wars 10th anniversary poster, the one that I had Harrison Ford sign last week. I was so wishing I could have gotten Sheila Fraser's.
Yeah.
I was,
Maybe you'll have to get Bonnie Peace.
Yeah.
I'm friends with her on Facebook now.
Suffice to say, Sheila Fraser is no longer with us.
Yeah. Well, no wonder Thanksgiving week is such a big week. A lot of movies are released. And on November 25th, 1992, Disney's 31st animated feature, Aladdin, was released in theaters. I remember seeing this one in theaters.
I recall trying to see this in theaters, but it just never worked out.
Well, you were older at that point. To me, I was the age group they were aiming for. This was the first Disney animated feature where I actually realized that voice actors were behind these pictures that I saw. I had known, well, I'd kind of been half in love with Robin Williams as a kid, watching Mork and Mindy.
Next.
And then seeing Hook. And when I heard his voice come on behind the genie, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this movie. So that's when I realized that voice actors were actually...
And the cartoons didn't speak. It was actual actors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
On November 25th, 1984, we saw Caravan of Courage, an Ewok adventure airing on ABC. But it was released as a theatrical movie in Europe.
Goopa noopa.
Then on November 25th, 2001, following the network premiere of The Phantom Menace on Fox, there was a 6-minute preview of R2-D2 Beneath the Dome.
Oh.
And it was shot during the production of Attack of the Clones. So you see Samuel L. Jackson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen, all given the real dirt
Wow.
on R2-D2.
On November 27th, 2008, a giant inflated Buzz Lightyear balloon made its debut at the 82nd annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
You know, it's only going to be so long until they have the Star Wars helium balloons in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
They haven't yet?
No. Now, it's only a matter of time. Last week, Rebel Force Radio brought something to my attention that I thought was worth noting on today's show, that Disney is ending the Star Wars and Marvel slot machine deals in Vegas and Atlantic City and, well, pretty much wherever you can gamble in the United States.
Oh, no!
And they don't want their property associated with gambling, so I can understand that.
I can understand it, but it's sad because that was like the one thing you liked in Vegas.
We were just in Vegas, and I could not believe there was a Star Wars slot machine. I had heard a rumor, but never saw any footage or any pictures. And then we walked by the Ghostbuster and slot machines for Wizard of Oz and The Hangover, and one of my personal favorite, the Monkeys.
Yeah.
And there was a huge, giant, like 80-inch screen Star Wars slot machine.
That was pretty awesome.
They had different sizes too. They had some casinos had the big ones, some had the little ones, and that was my favorite time in Vegas. So if you're in the Vegas area anytime soon, go to the MGM Grand Hotel. But it's going to be a few years, so don't worry if you can't get there this weekend.
Yeah.
Which means that once they're done with them, those are going to hit eBay.
Oh. Wow. All right, save up some money.
I would love to have a Star Wars slot machine in the living room.
Well, you know where one of those is going to end up? Up in Rancho Obi-Wan. You know that's going to happen. Well, how many days until Star Wars Celebration Anaheim?
As of today, November 21st, there is 509 days.
Oh.
Plan your trips.
I know a lot of people we've talked to on Twitter or Facebook, they've already bought their tickets. So if you haven't got on that, jump
Get
on that quick. We're also doing our episode 7 countdown. How many days for that one?
757 days.
Oh, that seems like such a long time.
But it's not going to be a long time.
I know, but compared to the 509 days.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of stuff in the meantime. There's going to be Rebels. There's going to be the proposed Darth Vader specials. There's just going to be so much coming out.
There's going to be Avengers 2. You know, that'll tide me over.
It's the new stuff at Disney, which we can't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be so much to keep our brains occupied.
Yay. Thank you for joining us this week on Skywalking Through Neverland. As usual, we have a couple of shout-outs to mention.
Yeah, we want to give a special shout-out to Jenny McCarthy. Jenny McCarthy mentioned me on The View a couple of days ago because they were shooting an episode of The View at Disneyland, and they were walked out by Jedis, and then a few minutes later, Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers would come running out. And Jenny mentioned that she had Darth Vader over for her son for a play date.
Mm-hmm.
And that Darth Vader was me.
Yay, they even showed a picture.
They showed a picture of me in my cosplaying Vader outfit with her son on a play date.
On a Chase lounge.
We were chilling on a Chase lounge.
In front of the pool.
So here I am at the gym, and then I'm on the elliptical, and then I see I got my headphones on, so I'm not hearing
listening
it.
to what it is, yeah.
So then all of a sudden there's a picture of me on the little 13-inch monitor in front of me.
That is so cool. And I happened to be on the treadmill behind him. Richard turned around to me. I was like, look, that's me, motioning. I think everyone at the gym thought we were weird, but we didn't care.
Thanks, Jenny. And sometimes we'll get calls to do cosplaying for celebrities if they want an appearance or even on a TV show. A couple of days ago, I got a call to be a Ninja Turtle on a talk show. They were interviewing a up-and-coming rapper named Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa.
Echo. I don't know if anyone knows who that is in our circles.
And so I went into the studio in downtown LA, and Wiz Khalifa is a rapper, and his whole entourage is made up of rappers and hip hop guys. So it's very easy to find me in a room. At first, I felt very out of place, but two of these hip hop rappers, had Star Wars shirts on.
Wouldn't you know it?
So suddenly, I felt like a kindred spirit.
Oh.
And this big group got to talking, and I happened to mention something about Star Wars and their Star Wars shirts, and all of a sudden the conversation turned to Star Wars and the whole Disney buyout, which none of them knew anything about.
Oh, what?
They didn't know anything about it, but they were very interested. And so we had like a 20-minute discussion on, will Disney tarnish the brand? My whole point is, don't judge a rapper by his cover.
There you go.
And I don't want to blow Wiz Khalifa's street cred, but his whole entourage, they couldn't have been more nice.
Oh.
Very, very polite, courteous guys.
Their mamas taught them right. I do have to give a shout out to Jeff Lane, who is at writer Jeff Lane on Twitter. He listens to the Adam Carolla podcast, and he just started listening to our podcast, and he was floored to learn that Richard is Adam Carolla's Iron Man.
Did he know that?
No. Well, he listened to Adam Carolla's podcast, and when he was listening to our last podcast last week, where you mentioned that you were the Iron Man for Adam Carolla, he was like, oh my God, he thought that was such a cool...
So he had heard Adam Carolla's show when he was talking about me as Iron Man.
Yeah, because he's an Adam Carolla loyal listener.
Oh.
So he tweeted this. Talk about #Trivergence. # Star Wars, # Disney, # Adam Carolla. This podcast made my week. So he was so stunned to learn that you were the Iron Man that he just had to tweet that. I thought that was so cute.
It's fun living in LA because you get to cosplay for TV shows and celebrities.
Yeah.
And all kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's random what we get to do, but it's awesome. This week we randomly got a post on Facebook from Donald Wicks, and he mentioned out of the blue, I love this podcast. Just left a review on iTunes. Keep them coming. I just went through all your episodes the past 2 days. So, and he did write us an iTunes review. So thank you, Donald Wicks, for listening to us and becoming a new Skywalker. So thank you to all our listeners. We so appreciate that you listen to us. That
it means a lot.
We does.
Put a lot of work into it, so we're very happy when people are writing and letting us know that they're enjoying the show.
Yeah.
It means the world to us.
It absolutely makes our day, makes our week, makes our hour, whatever it is.
It's about 3 a.m. right now, and we're very, very giddy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so just knowing that all this hard work is paying off, it makes it all worthwhile.
Well, what's happening next week, Richard?
Next week, we'll be having a report from Long Beach Comic-Con, which is being held right here in Long Beach.
Yay.
That's about 20 minutes from where we live.
Well, it is where we live.
Long Beach is where we live, but
yeah,
the Long Beach
it's a big city.
Convention Center is 20 minutes away.
Yes. Yay.
So we're loving this Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
No more San Diego for us.
No.
Phooey.
There will also be more Disney trivia challenges. And my parents are going to be in town for Thanksgiving. So you're going to get to know me and my childhood a little bit better as I talk to them about it.
And we'll get to listen in as Sarah's dad and I put up the Star Wars decorations in the front yard.
And if you've been watching us on Facebook, you've seen Phase 1.
Last couple of weeks, we had Ashley Eckstein and Bonnie Burton taking us out. This year, we'll do it ourselves.
This year? This week?
I said this week.
You said this year.
No.
Okay.
Well, it is this year.
What?
This week is this year. And since we didn't have anyone else to do it.
Well, maybe
at Long Beach Comic-Con.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Hey, if any of you Skywalkers are out there and you see us at Long Beach Comic-Con,
yeah,
we'll have you do our outro.
Yeah.
Which is Neverland on Alderaan.
Thank you for listening to Skywalking Through Neverland. We would love to hear what you thought of the show. Please send feedback and suggestions. You can email us at share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Please visit us at our website, skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/skywalkingthroughneverland and on Twitter at skywalkingpod. All material submitted becomes the property of Skywalking Through Neverland and are subject for use on our show. You can help support Skywalking Through Neverland by posting about us on Facebook, Twitter, or just tell another fanboy or girl. We would also really appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. A link to our iTunes page can be found on skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Skywalking Through Neverland was created and produced by Richard and Sarah Wolosky. Segment producers are David Scale, Richard Wolosky, Sarah Wolosky, and Mark Agushowitz. Graphic design and website design by Sarah Wolosky. Technical advisor is Peter Heitman. Skywalking Through Neverland is not affiliated with Lucasfilm Limited, Disneyland Resorts, or the Walt Disney Company. All names, sounds, and related items of Star Wars and Disney are registered, trademarked, and copyright Lucasfilm Limited and the Walt Disney Company and their respective trademark and copyright holders, all rights reserved. Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Hey Hey Entertainment, copyright 2013, all rights reserved. No part of this show may be repurposed, reproduced, redistributed, or rebroadcasted without the written permission of Hey Hey Entertainment.
Sorry, all that had to be said.
Goodbye. Live long and prosper. Wait, sorry. May the force be with you.
And cut. That's a wrap.